Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kenna. This is actually my first video, and as you can tell by the title, I'm hitting you guys with a story time about the time that I fully tore my ACL without knowing it until the day of surgery. This all started back in March of 2021. So it's been almost 2 years since I had the surgery. It's already been 2 years since the injury itself happened. I'm doing good. Still have my days, but overall good. I am doing better. Things are going as smoothly as they can be. So you guys get to hear about it today. So, like I said, it all started back in March of 2021. I was hanging out with some friends on a trampoline, and I had somebody land next to me, which made me land wrong, and my knee buckled out from under me. I remember being in a lot of pain, but not knowing what happened. Like, I've buckled my knees so many times on trampolines, but this one was different because the pain that I was experiencing was, like, it felt like I could move, but it felt like if I stood there for too long, like, I would just be on the ground. So that's how it felt. But that really only lasted for, like, the first 3 days of the injury. So I was right across the street when it happened from my house. So I was able to get home and get it situated right away. But I got, like, a knee brace, rested, ice, crushed, elevated, did the rice method, all that. Because we didn't know what had happened, and my parents just wanted to be sure that it wasn't anything horrible yet. Like, they wanted to just kind of rule out just accidentally buckling my knee and it just hurting. So that's kind of what we did. And, you know, after the first, like, 3 days, things got better. I was still really unstable on my knee, and it still hurt, but things got better. Or it kind of. So my parents called the doctor and talked to them, and he ended up being my surgeon, which I'm very happy about. And we talked to him, and he was kind of like, you know, something is definitely wrong, but I want to get an MRI just to see if we can see anything going on in there. If we can come to a diagnosis, like, just from that. So I went and got the MRI done, and all they really said was that my ACL had moderate damage, but not, like, but they wouldn't have said that it was ACL tear. They were like, you know, something's wrong, but there's really nothing showing up that would signify an ACL tear. So I went back to the doctors, and he's like, pretty much that's what he told me. He's like, the MRI shows absolutely nothing. The ACL, they are worried about, but he's like, you know, I am too. He's like, but there's several ways this could go. He's like, you know, it could be fully torn, could not be fully torn, you know, could be half torn and need surgery, could be half torn, not need surgery, could be that it's just not torn at all and was just stretched and would only need, you know, a couple weeks of physical therapy. So we're like, okay, cool. And he was like, you know, the thing that I would recommend, though, is getting a scope done and setting up some kind of plan. That way, if surgery is needed, they can just go ahead and do it right then and there and not have to send me home and then get me back in for the surgery, so they could just knock everything out at once, which was honestly really smart. And what ended up being, or what was supposed to be just like a 30-minute quick thing, I think ended up becoming like 2 hours because they did have to do surgery. So we set up everything with him. We decided that if it did need to be repaired, we would graft from my hamstring rather than my quad or whatever it is that goes down the front of my knee. I cannot remember which one that is off the top of my head. But yeah, so we made that decision, and at this point, so this is like April of 21. So it happened in March. We're now at April when we, you know, understand our decision and understand everything that's happening, understand that, you know, surgery may be needed, depending. So this is April. So it ends up being that we have a vacation to Myrtle Beach in the first week of July. So we've got between April and anytime after the vacation that I'm gonna have to be on my knee, no surgery, just the brace. But my surgeon said, he's like, I don't think there's a need for emergency surgery. He's like, as long as you're easy on it and take care of yourself and make sure not to do anything crazy, he's like, you should be absolutely fine. You should be able to make it till whenever we want to do the surgery. So that was kind of our game plan. Ended up getting surgery at the end of July. And pretty much went that entire span of time walking on a fully torn ACL. So surgery day comes around. I remember being terrified because I had never been under anesthesia before, never had a big surgery like this before. So to say that I was scared is normal. And I remember going in and I wasn't feeling it. I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm scared, but I got my mom. That made me feel better. I had my mom at least. That made me happy having her there. And boy, was it a ride. So, got the anesthesia, which honestly, I feel better about it now. So, if I were to ever have to go through surgery again, not saying I would want to go through ACL surgery again, but if I had to, I wouldn't be as scared about it because I would know what's coming. But I remember kind of knocking out and then kind of coming to at one point, but this was before the surgery still. So they gave me the anesthesia. I remember kind of phasing out, coming back to hear something about my mom, and then fading out again, and then woke up after my surgery. And 1, terrifying. 2, terrifying. Just that gap of time is terrifying to me. So there's that. And I wake up thanking the nurse in tears. I was like, thank you for taking care of me. Did he say what happened? And I remember having to ask her because my mom wasn't able to come back with me yet. So I was talking to the nurse. She was like, yeah, he'll be out to talk to you. They ended up having to do surgery, but you're all good now. And I remember, and it's funny to me because I didn't even ask about my mom first. I asked about the surgery, which to me is wild because I'm such a mama's girl. I absolutely love my mom. Her and I have such a great relationship. So it's to not ask for my mom right when coming out of a surgery like that is kind of wild to me. But I still, she was still the forefront of my mind at that point. And, she came back and we sat, she sat with me and we talked and waited for the surgeon. And at the time, my best friend who had moved a month before the surgery was getting ready to go on a trip with her youth group and wasn't going to be able to have her phone for a while. I think it was a week. So I thankfully was able to call her and got a hold of her before she ended up having to turn in her phone. So I remember crying on the phone to her, missing her and talking to her, and it just it was so hard to go through that without my best friend, because her and I have been friends for several years now, and to have to go through something like that without her, that was really, really hard mentally, because we had been through so much with each other over the past however many years we've been friends. I think we're at 14 years now we've been friends, and it's just it's wild to me. And I absolutely adore her. She is the sweetest person. She's so kind. And she's just amazing. And at that same time, I think a week or two after she moved, we actually ended up having to put my eldest childhood dog down. So that time was already very hard for me. It was not good. It did not feel good for me. And so to not have her with me was really hard. My best friend, that is. Because we really have been through so much together. We've lost family members and been able to grieve with each other. We've lost pets and been able to have each other to grieve with. And we genuinely had been through so much together as friends, like ups, downs, everything. So she was the first person that I was really like, I want to call her. I need to call her. I needed to, well, and especially because I was already on a time crunch, I needed to make sure that, like, if I was going to call her, I needed to call her right away. And then the second person I called was my sister, who I needed to call. I was very, like, I need to call my sister. I need to let her know that I'm okay. I need to just be able to talk to her, even though I mentally, like, was not okay. And I don't fully remember the conversations, but I have, like, some recollection of, like, parts of the conversations with them. And I just remember it was not easy. Like, it hurt. And then, so surgeon came back, talked to me. He said what ended up happening was it had torn fully, but ended up scarring itself back into my knee. So that's why the MRI showed nothing. So it was great. He was like, oh yeah, we went in and, like, checked it out, and he was like, one of the things we did, it was certain that it was a fully torn ACL. And he's like, you did really well. You dealt with that as if you were not hurt at all, which made me laugh, because I'm like, the pain that I was experiencing really wasn't horrible. Like, I wasn't expecting a fully torn ACL, and I was like, maybe half torn, like, at most, like, that's what I'm expecting, but that's it. And it was just funny to me. So we kind of had that conversation. I remember coming home, and that first week of recovery was horrible. That first week, I was exhausted. I was emotionally just not there. And of course the Olympics were happening at the time, so I'm, like, wanting to watch the Olympics while I'm in recovery mode, and I'm just like, you know what, let me be. I remember sleeping a lot that first week too. But after that first week, things started to get better, but I very quickly was just like, nope, I'm done. I need to be up moving. I don't like this. And that's kind of when I started to get really frustrated with myself for no reason. Because to me, like, my body was very much just like, no, get up. I need to do this. I need to be moving. I can do it. But at the same time, my body's like, you kind of can't. Like, you're not going to feel good doing that. So I remember getting, like, really frustrated, because I'm like, I just want to be up doing the things that I love doing and that I typically do, and to not be up doing it did not make me happy. So that was, like, a really rough thing that I dealt with. And of course, it was, like, a month before my senior year. 2 months before my senior year, maybe. And I had missed getting senior pictures at the high school to go into the yearbook. Wasn't able to get those done because I was, like, I had just had surgery, like, a week prior to when they were going to be doing the photos at the school. So I would have been miserable, would not have been looking good, would not have been feeling good, would not have been able to do anything. So I'm glad I didn't get them done. I got mine done really late, so I didn't end up being in the yearbook, but I truly don't care. I never ended up buying one anyway, like, at all in high school, which I'm kind of not mad about. But, so, like, all of that was happening one after the other. But I was able to see my friend a couple days before the school year was supposed to start. So we had gone down, like, that weekend before school started for us. And it was so nice to be able to see her and her family again, and it was the first time we had been down there, but it was really awkward in a way too, because it was like, you know, I'm here not in the best condition, and I apologize for that. Like, at least at the time, I was able to walk on crutches for the most part, so like things were okay, but boy did it not feel good. I remember being really tired really quickly when getting up to do things, and so like that entire trip was just kind of us sitting around so that I can like be hanging out with them but not have to worry about being exhausted. But it was a lot of fun being able to see them and talk to them. And of course, like, I had the huge brace from like the top of my thigh, well, about my mid-thigh down to my ankle, and it was a nightmare. And physical therapy was another place that it got really, really hard to get away from like the self-deprecating thoughts, because to me, it was like, I'm not achieving these goals fast enough. I need to be meeting these goals. My physical therapist isn't happy with the way that I'm doing this. She's not happy with the speed that I'm doing this at. Which she absolutely was not. Like, all of those things were wrong. She was like, you know, people get different places at different times. And she reminded me, she's like, you're gonna have your moments of not getting far, and then you're gonna have that moment where it seems like overnight you're hitting all your goals at one time and you're excelling, and then you're gonna hit a plateau again. And she's like, a lot of people do that, and that's okay. And I'm like, well, at least that's good to know. But I still, again, like, had a lot of moments where I was getting on myself about it, even when everyone around me was going, no, you're fine, don't worry about this, things are okay. But yeah, it was really hard, and thankfully things are better. I ended up doing 9 months of physical therapy. Spent the first, I think, 2 months of school on a crutch and the brace before I was finally able to get out of that brace. My teachers were amazing and accommodating and so kind to me, and just such genuinely amazing people. And like, I really appreciated them for that. Like, it genuinely made me feel good that like there were people who were like, yo, we're gonna help you. We feel bad that you're going through this. So like, they accommodated everything that I needed with the brace, like when I was recovering, for as long as like I needed to be using everything. The amount of people I had telling me that they were so proud of me and proud of everything that I was doing and all the goals that I was accomplishing, and just my mentality, like, to be thinking about the positive side of everything, which made me feel good in a way, because I was like, at least I'm still able to understand that like there is good things are gonna come of this, even though it genuinely felt like nothing was happening for a while. But yeah, I'm coming up on 2 years, and even now, like, I still have a lot of mental blocks with things when it comes to my knee. I still worry about it. I still have my struggles of like, I cannot do things without immediately going, oh my god, something just happened. Did I tear my knee? Did I tear my knee? Did I break something? Am I gonna have to do surgery again? Am I gonna have to go back to physical therapy? But then I have to take a deep breath and go, no, these are just things that I'm feeling because I didn't feel them before. And now my knee, moves differently. But yeah, so that's pretty much my story about how I didn't know I had a fully torn ACL the entire time before surgery. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. If you've gone through this before, comment down below. Let me know about your experience, let others know about your experience, and if anybody has any sort of feedback or any type of just like encouragement for each other, like, please do that. Like, I that's something I love to see. So yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Be sure to stay tuned for more, because there will be more, and I will see you guys later. Peace.